Welcome to yet another discussion, and today our topic is Criterion 2 of SAR guidelines by NBA. Probably this criterion is one of the most important because NBA expects a lot of information and evidences in support of all the information under this criterion. And the criterion is Criterion 2 about program curriculum and teaching learning processes. There are two sub-criterion. One is program curriculum and second is teaching learning process for 160 minutes. It need not be mentioned that the achievement of target related to COs and POs depend mostly on curriculum and the teaching learning processes. An educational institute exists mainly for teaching learning processes, and it is implemented through delivering the contents in the curriculum as per structure and component. The three core ingredients of education are learners, facilitators, and the curriculum content. And therefore, a large amount of information need to be provided in this criterion as per SAR guidelines. The NBA visiting team is supposed to verify all the records and documents as per SAR guidelines. Under program curriculum, process used to identify the compliance of the curriculum, whether the curriculum is addressing the POs and PSOs. And during this process, the curriculum gap has to be identified if there is any. If the gap is identified, then there should be some steps for bridging the gap, and that comes under contents beyond the syllabus. The structure and components, these are two important aspects of curriculum. An analysis of structure and components of the curriculum is helpful to identify the extent of compliance of curriculum for attainment of POs and PSOs. NBA visiting team inspect the structure of the curriculum. If the institute is under any board or council, they have no control over the design and development of the curriculum. But department has to establish the compliance of curriculum, and the process need to be documented. The curriculum gap has to be identified and action has to be taken. The curriculum structures are like this. Curriculum has some components, like humanities and social science is a component, and under these components, the structure of theoretical class, tutorial class, and practical classes are allocated like this in terms of hours per week. And there are some allocation of credits based on the weightage of the subject to overall contribution of the whole program. And for humanities and social science, the total credit is 8. The structure as well as components indicate the quality of the curriculum. The structure indicates the declaration of dedication of teaching learning process for delivery of the content. Next important component of curriculum is basic science. For diploma engineering, these types of course comes under basic science, and for this also the structure of theoretical classes, tutorial and practical has to be established as per curriculum, and visiting team will check genuinity of the document. So the total credit for this component is 19. Similarly, there is another component, that is the engineering science courses. So courses like this, which are generally taken from the other branches or other programs courses, these courses do not come under the core courses of the program. The total credit for this is 15. All these are only some sample examples. The exact curriculum structure may be different. And one of the most important component of total curriculum is project work, seminar and internship. This component addresses many important or key POs and PSOs of the program. This component is credited with 12 points, or the total credit for this component is 12. In this example, the main component of the curriculum is the program core courses. So this is example for one sample from one mechanical engineering program, and these are some of the core courses. Theoretical session, tutorial session and lab sessions are like this. The total credit for core courses in this example is 48. So this way we can tabulate curriculum, structure and component for inspection of the visiting team. They will check whether the weightage of the class hour is proportional to the credits or not, or whether there is proper weightage to the program core courses or not. This type of things they will check. Next important is the component part. The component, already we have discussed that these are some components of diploma engineering program. For core courses, it will be 45, and for this 45 the percentage of the total credit is 37.5. Total credit for the whole program is 120, and out of 2 days these are the distribution. So accordingly the percentage weightage of the credits are like this, and the maximum weightage or maximum credit goes to the program core courses. It occupies 10% of the total credits, which is project work, seminar and internship. This table will be used by the visiting team to assess the component quality of the curriculum. Component guidelines are provided by AICTE. There should not be much deviation from the guidelines given by the AICTE. Now, the compliance of the curriculum. Then question is, does the curriculum address all POs and PSOs? If the answer is yes, then the compliance is okay. And if no, then curriculum is not compliant to fulfill the achievement of POs and PSOs. The process of mapping has to be described and establish the compliance. The program articulation matrix is a good indicator of compliance. The average of matrix table gives more clear ideas during the analysis. This exercise will be very helpful to identify the curriculum gap. And the exercise is program articulation matrix and the average matrix strength. Now, content beyond the syllabus. If the gap is identified, the analysis of compliance of curriculum, the necessary arrangement for bridging the gap has to be made by the department. The process and proof of delivery of the content for bridging the gap need to be documented and presented before the visiting team. The information may include the name of the resource person involved in the content delivery, the dates and time of the content delivery, the proof of quality of the content, etc. A list of the curricular gap would help to take action plan for addressing the shortfalls. Justification of each gap and documents of respective actions should be available for the visiting team. Participation of internal and external stakeholders make the process more accurate. The implementation records must be made available during the inspection. If the program runs under the board or state council, the curriculum gap identified during the analysis process has to be forwarded as suggestions for necessary action by the higher authority. The proof of such communication from the department need to be preserved for visiting team's inspection. The content beyond syllabus need to be analyzed again by mapping with the POs and PSOs. The process will help to make judgment about the impact of content beyond syllabus. So content beyond syllabus is required only when there is a gap. Otherwise, this exercise need not be carried out.